Schools should not have school uniforms. Please argue your opinion on this. Argue is the important word. Argue means you choose one side. Yes, schools should have uniforms, or no, schools should not. Don't give me both sides. Just one side. Please argue your opinion on this. 3 parts of an essay. Introduction, body, conclusion. Okay. Let's just argue schools should have school uniforms. Let's choose that side, so we're going to do this together. Schools should. Right. And I'll start with doing the introduction. General statement. Thesis statement. Preview. General thesis review. So we go from general down to specific, from general down to detail. Who can give me a general statement about school uniforms? Something that no one can argue. Something that is like a fact. What about if I said, in most schools around the world, children wear school uniforms? Is that true? Not all, but most. Do you think they wear school uniforms in most schools? I know in Australia, most schools, probably like 98%. In Mongolia, most children wear a school uniform. In Bangladesh, most. In China, all. In India, well, there we go. I mean, if China and India are mostly wearing school uniforms, then the whole world is mostly wearing school uniforms. So that's a general statement. There's no real argument, you know. So what the general statement does is it introduces the topic. You're the reader, or the lecturer is the reader, or you're the reader if you're doing reading for your course. And you're like, if you've never seen this piece of paper before, if you read that first sentence, or first couple of sentences, that will tell you what this essay is about. That's the idea. General statement. It's like an introduction. It's an introduction to the introduction. It's an introduction to the topic. So, you know, the general statement. We could say all around the world, children go to school every day wearing a school uniform. There we go. There's your general statement. All around the world, children go to school every day wearing a school uniform. You could make that a bit longer if you want, a bit shorter. Let's just say you wanted to make it a bit longer. First, you can just talk about school. The vast majority of children in the world go to school every day. Those children, most of the time, wear a school uniform. See how we're going from general, we're talking about schools, then we can come to school uniforms. You could just talk about education. Growing up in this world, people learn from an early age. They learn when they are young by going to school. When they go to school, they often wear a school uniform. See, we're getting general to specific. Depends. I mean, your general statement might be longer if you've got a 1,000-word essay or a 2,000 word or a 3,000 word essay, but because this is a 250-word essay, I talked about it the other day, 5 paragraphs, 50 paragraphs per paragraph, 50 words per paragraph, roughly. 50 words for the introduction, 50 words for the 3 body paragraphs, 50 words for the conclusion. So depending on the size or the length, general statement can be shorter or longer. But let's just go with this one. All around the world, children go to school every day wearing a school uniform. That's your general statement. Introduction to the topic. Thesis statement. Thesis statement answers the question. It's very important that you answer the question. This essay will argue that school children should wear a uniform to school. Here we go. I'm telling the reader what I am going to argue. I have chosen my side. I am for school uniforms. This essay will argue that school children should wear a uniform to school. Notice, this is very important, notice I don't say, I will argue. This is very important. Many of you have learnt in an IELTS essay, it's okay to talk about I, my, but when you're doing an academic essay, usually at university, you keep distance. You keep some distance. This essay will argue. Academic is, it's not personal. Academic is not personal. There we go. All around the world, children go to school every day wearing a school uniform. This essay will argue that school children should wear a uniform to school. Preview. What's the preview? Can anyone tell me? Sometimes the best part of going to the movies,
Summary, kind of summary.
Similar. You know, but you're waiting for the movie to start, but then they play a preview of another movie. You know, the new James Bond movie or the new Harry Potter movie. And they take the best bits.
Like a trailer?
Trailer. The preview is like a trailer. You're telling the reader what you are going to tell them in the body. The preview. Now we have to think of three reasons why school uniforms are good. We talked about this the other day.
It will equal.
Yeah.
Equal.
Equality. The idea is if children all wear a school uniform, the rich kid and the poor kid look the same.
Yes.
So they don't feel, the poor kid does not feel bad. Equality. What's another reason school uniforms are good? Discipline? Yeah, I suppose, well, depends on, you're talking like wearing a tie and that kind of uniform, no? Discipline?
Discipline is maybe stronger.
Yeah, I'm not sure that's what I'm thinking. Let's just say, it doesn't have to be the best reasons. What about from a parent's point of view? The school uniform is...
When a student wears the uniform, then they understand that this time for study. The study time is study.
Yeah.
Some students can't buy the brand new clothes. They love to wear the uniform regularly.
Well, let me just say, I think from I remember you saying in your essay, let's say it's also for identification. Identification, equality, identification, and let's say it's, these are the three reasons. Easy for parents, you know. There's a famous story about Steve Jobs, the founder of Apple, even Mark Zuckerberg from Facebook. They wear the same clothes every day. Why? They don't have to think about clothes. This is why I bought these. I've got one blue and one light blue. I can just put it on. It's like a uniform. I don't have to think. I have two shirts that say CQU. I only have to think about the clothes I wear for 3 days of the week. So it's easy for parents. There we go. So there's your three reasons. And we're going to make those paragraphs in the body. One paragraph about equality, one paragraph about identification, one paragraph about it's easy for parents. But we're going to tell the reader in the preview, this is what we're going to say. Let's say preview. It is like a summary of the body. A summary of the body. So we can say, all around the world, children go to school every day wearing a school uniform. This essay will argue that school children should wear a uniform to school. There are many reasons that school children should wear a uniform. These include equality, identification, and ease for families. these 4 families. There it is. There's your introduction. And your introduction is like a plan. Once you have that introduction, once you've done your general statement, your thesis statement, and your preview, because your preview is really just a plan, then the rest is easy. So we've gone from the general, school children wear uniforms, down to the preview, which is why children should wear a uniform, the actual reasons. We've answered it in the thesis. Often the thesis and preview can sort of come together. There we go. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 6, 20. So there you go, there's 44 words. There's your first 50. Look, this is an exam essay, right, where counting words is important. Like in IELTS, it is best to be between 5 and 10% on either side of the word count. There are many reasons that school children should wear a uniform. These include quality, identification, ease for parents. There we go. Topic sentence. Supporting sentences. We talked about the 3 parts of a body paragraph. It's all there. What did I say about concluding sentences? Do you remember? Concluding sentences. They're optional. You don't really need them. Okay? A concluding sentence, don't really need. So really this is the 2 main parts. If you had done the paragraph structure unit, Unit 1, I gave to you. It says in that, if you'd read it, a concluding sentence is when a paragraph is by itself. But part of an essay, you don't need a concluding sentence. It's optional. It's nice. A concluding sentence often links or connects to the next paragraph, but not always. Because a paragraph shows to the reader that's the end of an idea or set of ideas. Now we're moving to a new set of ideas. All right, the topic sentence. The topic sentence is the main idea. The main idea. It's the introduction to the paragraph. All right, so what was the first one?
Equal.
Equality. Wearing a school uniform creates a sense of equality among students. Wearing a school uniform creates a sense of equality among students. Can we think of 2 or 3 ways? 2 or 3 ways that equality occurs? We talked about this. I said rich and right. So there's we'll just talk about the supporting sentence. So one supporting sentence might talk about rich and poor. What's another way that equality is? It's actually a little bit of a funny one. I mean, if there's 2 rich kids, how can they be different in their clothes? Yeah.
Yeah, one is like free.
Maybe the word might be, it's called fashionable,
Yeah.
unfashionable. Do you know the difference? You know? They might have the same, 2 children might have the same amount of money, but one student just has no idea about what is good to wear. You know? They don't know what is cool. You know? One child has, you know, Nikes and Levi's. The other one's like doesn't understand what is fashionable and unfashionable. What is in style and what isn't in style. What's another way equality? Rich, poor, fashionable, unfashionable.
Well washed or well get up or like that's fashionable, unfashionable.
No, what? Let's just stick it to, like I said. So let's do the first one, rich, poor. So wearing a school uniform creates a sense of equality among students. At any school, there is usually, hedging language, there is usually children from families that are rich and poor. A school uniform hides, everyone knows the word hides, hides differences between these rich and poor students. Alright. There we go, there's one supporting sentence. Wearing a school uniform creates a sense of equality among students. At any school, there is usually children from families that are maybe both rich and poor. The school uniform hides differences between those rich and poor students. Tick. One supporting sentence done. Another difference . Another difference that can be hidden is between the fashionable and not so fashionable students. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, 100, 101, 102, 103, 104, 105, 106, 107, 108, 109, 110, 111, 112, 113, 114, 115, 116, 117, 118, 119, 120, 121, 1 52, 53 words, there we go. There's your first body paragraph. So the supporting sentences are like body sentences. The topic sentence is an introductory sentence. Now I won't do body paragraph 2 and I won't do body paragraph 3 because I think you understand. If we just talked about it, identification. If I was to say the topic sentence, another positive, I'll tell you what, I'll do the plan for the second body paragraph. If you want to take a photo, that might be quicker. Are you copying this word for word?
Yeah.
So one day you might have an essay on this and you'll be ready. I'll leave this, you can copy that down. We'll do the topic sentence for the second paragraph. It's identification. So let's think of 2 or 3, that's going to be the topic sentence, we'll talk about that. Let's just think of a couple of supporting sentences about identification. Why is it good that school uniforms are identification? Why is that a good thing?
We can identify the student that he or she is studying at that school.
And it's like school ID. The dress.
It could be school identification also.
So,
School.
I'm just trying to think, why is it good that they're identified? I suppose, identification. The rest of society, the public, society, so okay, society knows they are students, which often means, the police know their students. So if at 11 o'clock on a Monday there are students at the train station, they're wearing uniforms, the police can go, "Excuse me, shouldn't you be at school?" So society knows they are students.
They will pay attention for their school more.
So you also know maybe what school they go to. So you could talk about stuff like police.
Some children will proud of their school.
Yeah, that's a good one. Which school? So you say also, what's the word? Everyone's proud of their school. There's a sense of belonging. So connection to our school. Talking about pride, loyalty, words like that. Alright. So I'm going to get rid of this one. That's it. Identification. Another, because this is the second paragraph. We've talked about the first advantage, the first positive of school uniforms. Very important, linking words. Also called signposts, also called transition signals, also called discourse markers, many names, but the same thing. Another advantage of school uniforms is identification. First supporting sentence. A school uniform signals to society that those children are school students. This signalling can take many forms. It can tell a police officer that a student should be at school. It also often tells which school the student belongs to. This identification also is a personal thing. So the first sentence is really about society. That's like the bigger picture. And then you can say the second sentence is more personal. It's for the student, you know. A school uniform also signals a personal connection to a school.
Honest, the children wear the school uniform, they mentally prepare for do something for study.
Yeah, that's right. Identification. There is a sense of pride or loyalty. A personal connection. There we go. Second body paragraph. Topic sentences, supporting sentences. Last. What was the last one? I forgot.
Easy for parents.
Easy for
Oh,
parents.
that's right. Parents. School uniforms also are very practical. Everyone knows the word practical? It's smart. It's smart. It's an intelligent thing to actually have school uniforms. They're practical, you know. Why are they practical? Why is it easy for parents, for families, to have a school uniform? I say they know what to wear. Monday to Friday.
Yeah.
Know what to wear Monday to Friday.
No more headache, people. No more headache.
No headache, that's right. It's easy. Every day you have to put a grey shirt, you know, grey socks, a certain type of pants, a certain type of shoes. Send your child off to school, know what to wear Monday to Friday. And usually school uniforms, they're, you know...
Not so expensive.
Yeah, not expensive. Not too expensive. Not expensive, you know. It's called wash and wear. Wash and wear. You don't take a school uniform to the dry cleaner. It's not like a suit or a dress. Okay? So there you go. They're very practical. The parents, the families know every day, or at least Monday to Friday, they know Monday to Friday what their children are wearing. There is no headache. They are usually not expensive. Usually. The majority of the time they are not expensive. They are easy to wash and wear. easy to wash and wear. Monday to Friday, no headaches, you know. Not too expensive. Quick and easy. Every time we ever do this, every time we do an essay like this, the front page, it says here, brainstorm and plan. If you did this, if you just spent 5 or 10 minutes writing out a plan, each body paragraph supported, then you've got, it's easy, then you can just write it out. Brainstorm and plan on the first page. Okay, so this was the last one. So they're the 3 body paragraphs. Does this all make sense? Okay, now we move on to the conclusion. You know what the conclusion is? The conclusion is the introduction in different words. The conclusion is just the introduction in different words. Let's talk about the conclusion. For an argument essay, there's really just 2 parts. Summary and comment or recommendation. Talk about these 2 parts. Okay. Summary. Summary, what 2 parts of the introduction is the summary? Now, in the introduction, there are 3 parts. What 2 parts of the introduction are the summary? Is the summary? Is the summary the general statement and thesis statement? Is the summary the general statement and preview? Or is the summary the thesis statement and preview?
Thesis and preview.
So it's the summary is the thesis and the preview. There's just a slight difference. In the introduction, this essay will show. This essay will show. We're talking about the future. This essay will show. This essay has shown. Now we're talking about the past. In the introduction, we're talking about the future. In the summary, we're talking about the past. This essay has shown that. This essay has shown that school uniforms. Now, this is very important. Try and use different words in the summary. What did I write? What did I write in the for the thesis statement? What were the words I actually wrote on the board? Sherry? No. Sherry?
This is it. We'll argue that school children should wear a uniform to school.
Okay. All right. School. This essay will argue that school children should wear. Okay. So I can say this essay has shown that school uniforms have many advantages for school children. All right. So I've said the same thing, but just in different words. That school uniforms have many advantages for school children. There we go. Same meaning, same argument, same thesis, but just different words. This essay has shown that school uniforms have many advantages for school children. These advantages include, now, once again, let's think of some new words. What's a different way of saying equality? What's a different way of saying equality? These advantages include...
Balance. Like balancing or equality.
Yeah, that's very, balance is very close in meaning, but not quite. What are we trying to say? That, these advantages include making students
Similar.
feel similar or all the same. Good. Making students feel similar the same. Either way. There we go. Making students feel similar or the same, that's equality. It also lets the world and it also lets the world know who they are and connects them to their school. So this was summarising from there. That part summarises the first body paragraph. This is summarising the second body paragraph. The topic of that, the main idea of that second body paragraph, what was it? What was the second body paragraph about? Do you remember?
Identification.
Identification. But I haven't used the word identification. It lets the world know who they are, that's identification, and connects them to their school. The students identify with the school. These advantages include making students feel similar, the same. It also lets the world know who they are and connects them to their school. And lastly, we're talking about parents. What were the two ideas for parents? One was easy. We're talking about practical.
No headache.
No headache.
No headache of choosing this.
And
Not so expensive.
Not so expensive.
we'll just come here.
Wash and gear.
Affordable. Affordable for all.
And makes life easy
Okay.
for the families of school children. There we go. So that's it. So the summary, there's your thesis. And then the preview begins here. So the summary, like I said, is just rewording the thesis and preview. This essay has shown, we're talking about the past, that school uniforms have many advantages for school children. These advantages include making students feel similar or the same. It also lets the world know who they are and connects them to their school. And lastly, makes life easy for the families of the school children. Now, a comment or recommendation. This is also optional. This is also optional. The reason you might have a comment or recommendation, this is a personal view. It shows the reader that you are thinking more deeply about the subject. I don't know, who can think of a comment or recommendation? It's sort of like, it can be like a general statement, you know?
In my own personal views,
That I believe.
school should
Yeah, you could say that. Look, you got to maybe think about it. The world is changing, yes. We have 7 billion people. Now, what's happening in the world right now is the rich are getting richer and the poor are getting poorer. There's more of a divide. You'd say something like that. It makes you look smart. In a world where the divide between rich and poor is getting bigger and bigger, school uniforms are one way
To consume the distance between the poor and the rich.
School uniforms are one way of reminding us that we are all basically the same. You know, we are all basically the same. So that could be your comment or recommendation. You know, if you were taking the other side, schools should not have school uniforms. Say we pointed out 3 reasons why there should be no uniforms, you know. Your comment or recommendation could be the opposite. You know, it is the year 2015. The world has changed. The individual has freedom. The individual has rights. School uniforms are something that should be left in history. It's up to you. Depends on what you want. Alright? So there you go. That's how you write an essay, an argument essay. That's what I'll be looking for. I'll be looking for a general statement. I'll be looking for a thesis statement. I'll be looking for body paragraphs with topic sentences and supporting sentences. I'll be looking for a summary. It's all here. It's all here. It's a good plan for the rest of your school days. For the rest of your university days.
This is argument C, yeah?
It's an argument. It's the same if you were doing 2 sides. You know, a discussion essay, problem solution. You might have 4 body paragraphs, 2 on the advantages, 2 on the disadvantages. The plan is basically the same, whether it's argument or it's a 2-sided essay. That's it. It's just a simple plan. All essays are basically that. I mean, there is more. You can become, there are more complex essays, more advanced essays, but that plan is the basic plan. You know? It's like every building has 4 walls and a roof. You know, whether it's the Burj Al Arab in Dubai or a house here in Sydney, you know, it's got the same basic structure. So the same with an essay, it has the same basic structure.
But inside it's different.
Yeah. And the same with a book or anything, a movie. If you have a book, maybe you've got a favourite author. Say it's Harry Potter, and there are 15 chapters. Maybe the first 2 chapters are just the introduction. Then the next 10 chapters are the body, and then the last 3 chapters are the conclusion. As I said, every story, movie, every time you tell a story to your friends or listen to a story from your friends, there's usually a beginning, a middle, and an end. There's an introduction, a body, and a conclusion. So there you go. Clear? Any questions?
While writing the essay, we have to make a heading like introduction.
No, not for an essay. A report, you might have a heading. An essay, it's funny because you have to write essays at university, but in a job you don't write essays. You know? It's just a structure to learn, to show you can argue, or you can explain, or you can discuss. It's just a structure. So usually there will be more things like report writing, but this is not. So try not to put a heading.